Good morning, beloveds. Whatever I was about to say is just whooshed right out of my head. So, it's Friday. I get to go to the park tomorrow. You notice that I put part 1 in this because I'm under no illusion that I can finish this. It is 10 pages and I can do about 5. So, we're going to do part 1 of chapter 2, Mind, the Greatest Discovery. So we are going to start with nature waits on people's self-recognition. Nothing is more apparent. I'm going to start that over again. Let me start that sentence over again. Okay. Nature waits on people's self-recognition. Nothing is more apparent than that people, as they now appear, are the result of evolution. But in order to evolve, they had to have a principle from which to unfold. Since people are intelligent, they must have evolved from an intelligent cause. In studying the order of people's evolution, it seems certain that it was necessary from time to time that they would be brought to a point of self-choice, that they would be left alone to discover their true nature. If people are endowed with the attributes of self-choice and free will, they must be allowed to make this great discovery for themselves. Even God could not make a mechanical individual. Consider any of nature's forces. They must have existed always, but so far as people are concerned, they exist to be used only when they have discovered them and learned how to make use of them. Electricity was a reality in the universe when Moses led the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But neither Moses nor any of his followers knew anything about it. This is true of all natural laws. They have always existed, but only when understood may they be used. In this way, life waits upon people's discovery of natural laws, their discovery of themselves, and their discovery of their relationship to the great whole. Principle in any science is invisible, theoretical, as is our idea of spirit. No one has seen God, nor has anyone seen life. What we have seen is the manifestation of life. No one has seen intelligence. We experience it. No one has ever seen causation. We see what it does. We deal with its effects. We do not see beauty. The artist feels beauty and depicts it as best they can. And the result of their effort is what we call beautiful. The mathematician solves a problem, but the problem is not the principle of mathematics. The solution of the problem is an effect or result of the application of principle. We do not see life. We experience living. Causation is invisible. The first great discovery. The first great discovery people made was that they could think. This was the day when they first said, I am. This marked the first day of the personal attainment. From that day, people became individuals and had to make all further progress themselves. From that day, there was no compulsory evolution. They had to work in conscious union with life. The basis from which people are evolving is infinite. Behind them is the great unknown, but it is not the great unknowable. As a result of the discovery that they could think, plan and execute, people have built up a great civilization. They have perceived that nature works through them in order to work for them. They have harnessed electricity. They have harnessed electricity, compelled steam to do their bidding, conquered the air, built cities, made the desert to bloom, and have thrown lines of their commerce around the globe. Indeed, they seem to possess the earth during this process, even though little attention has been given to that still small voice which says, "People, know thyself." The greatest discovery of all time, mind. People's first discovery of their ability to think was taken as a matter of fact. They had always been able to think. It was proof that they existed. It gave them the ability to know their needs and to supply them. It appeared to be an automatic thing. It came with them and would doubtless die when they died. The brain seemed to be the organ of thought, and of course, when death stilled the brain, it would no longer operate. However, a day came when some wise person claimed that it was not the brain that does the thinking, for if the brain could think, it would keep on thinking when removed from the body. Yet without a brain, a person could not think, which proved that something behind the brain was used as an instrument. People do not think. So behind the brain, People do think. So behind the brain, there must be a thinker. But where is the thinker? We do not see them. We have a right to say there is a thinker when we have never seen them. Yes, for the proof of this reality is the evidence of their thought. Back of the organism is the thinker and the doer, the mind. This was the greatest discovery of all time, for it meant that the body without the thinker could not function. At first, people did not perceive this and thought only of their body as self-operating. But when they discovered that this was not the case, they found that they could consciously think and decide, and that something happened in their thoughts after they thought them. They went somewhere and returned to them as memory. Next section, memory. Pondering on this, people came to the conclusion that memory was an active thing. And they reasoned after this fashion, memory must be the storehouse of all ideas that have passed through my mind. Memory is active, for my thoughts come back to me. My thought is conscious of my body is operated upon by my thought, and it must be operated upon by my memory. Since memory is active, but since memory is the result of conscious thought, memory of itself is an unconscious operation of what was once a conscious thought. This is one of the most important conclusions which the mind of people have ever made. Emphasis, earnest. By changing their thought, they could remold their affairs. And by right thinking, they could bring new conditions into their life. Tremendous. Science. Science is the knowledge of facts based upon some proven principle. The scientific investigation of anything is, of necessity, a cold-blooded proposition. We speak about knowing about science being absolute knowledge. Science is absolute knowledge insofar as the facts of science are demonstratable. How laws are discovered. In the scientific discovery of laws, certain theories are postulated. Such theories may develop through research and investigation. When a theory proves to be correct after many experiments, then a principle is announced. In this way, scientific truth is demonstrated, but no one has ever seen any of these principles which science announces. As no one has ever seen the great cause which lies back of all of the manifestation of life. As soon as a law is discovered, experiments are made with it. Certain facts are proven to be true, and in this way, a science is gradually formulated. Any science consists of the number of known facts about its invisible principle. As more and more facts are gathered and proven, the science expands and gradually becomes accepted by all and may be used by those who understand it. The science of mind. Let us then approach the science of mind with awe, but not with fear, with a truly humble spirit, but not with any sense that we are unworthy, and certainly with no superstition. Let us approach it normally, happily, willing to accept it, glad to experiment with it, believing that as a result of our efforts we shall derive this great good, a better understanding of the natural laws of life as they apply to the individual and their relationship to the universal scheme of things. The science of mind, then, is a study of life and the nature of laws of thought, the conception that we live in a spiritual universe, that God is in, through, around, and for us. There is nothing supernatural anywhere on any plane. That which today seems to us supernatural, after it is understood, will be found spontaneously natural. We say there is a universal mind, but no one ever saw it. We say God is spirit, but no one ever saw God. The Bible says, no person hath seen God at any time, only the Son. He hath revealed him. To express this idea in our language, no one has seen cause. Because we see an effect, we know there must be a cause. Nothing is more evident than the fact that we live, and since we live, we must have life. And since we have life, there must be life. The only proof we have of mind is that we think. The external principle is forever hidden. All right. And that is where I'm going to stop today. We are stopping on page 75, excuse me. And I am going to start with, where do we get our mental impressions tomorrow? I'm starting on page 75 with the section, where do we get our mental impressions? The paramount problem with philosophy now, as in the past, is how and from whence do we get our mental impressions? Kant says we are able to perceive an object because it awakens an intuitive perception within us. How could it awaken an intuitive perception within us unless the medium which created the object already existed within us? The intuitive perception was not the result of the perceiving of the object, but was itself the cause of the object perceived. This is what Emerson would have us understand when he says there is one mind common to all individual people. That which is apparently outside can become known to the individual through intuition, because the perception and the perceiver must be in one and the same mind. No object can appear to exist as in the objective world unless there is first a subjective world to perceive the object. There is no object on the outside of reality, but reality must be an infinite perceiver or an infinite mind. One mind common to all people. The Bible says, in spirit we live and move and have our being. Spirit, it, or God. Jesus said, reality is not the mountain. Reality is not in the mountain nor afar off, but within us. So, without trying to define, without making any attempt to explain, we make the simple statement, mind is. Mind is, and mind is both universal and individual. I.e., it is not only universal and abstract, it is also individual and concrete. The mind, which is personified in the same mind, which is universal. This is the perception that Buddha, Jesus, and other great spiritual leaders had. They understood that the universe has to be one in order to be at all. Jesus saw it when he said in substance, if I cast out devils by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils, that is a house divided against itself, which cannot stand. And he also said, who hath seen me hath seen God. Jesus had arrived at the perception of oneness. Images of thought, although they appear to arise from without, actually arise from the objective side of that which is a part of the subjective within. In order that nature may be coherent and come into self-expression, there must be an objective, a manifest world. But that which is physically outside of us still exists in the same medium in which we have our being, and the intelligence by which we perceive it is the same intelligence that created it. Emphasis earnest there. The same intelligence that created it. Therefore, while it is objectively separate, it is subjectively unified. Our images of thought arise from within a medium in which both the one who sees and that which is seen exist in one state of inner unity. God exists in everything. God exists in me, and because God exists in me, I am able to recognize other beings in whom God exists. Spirit is the medium through which I am conscious of myself and others and of my environment. All right. Reading thought. Recognizing that we are surrounded by a universal mind, it does not seem strange that certain people should sense our thoughts, even when we are not aware of the fact, because thought operates through a medium which is universal, always present. It is almost certain that between friends, there is at all times a silent communication, a sort of unconscious mental conversation going on. When this arises to the surface of the conscious intelligence, it is called mental telepathy. This communication with others is going on all the time, whether the conscious mind is aware of it or not. These impressions are more or less vague and seldom come to the surface. They are there, nevertheless, and are gradually building into our mentality's impressions and forms of thought that are unconsciously and silently perceived. This all leads to the conclusion that what we call our subjective mind is really the use that we as individuals make of the universal subjective. Just as radio messages are operative through a universal medium, so our thoughts are operative through a universal medium. Ernest was a little weird. Getting back to the reading. Mental laws. As we think of the medium of radio transmission in terms of law, so should we think of the mental medium in terms of law. For the mental medium must be the law of mental action. While we might think of it as the mind of God, we could not think of it as the Spirit of God, for the mental medium is the automatic, while the Spirit must be the self-knowing. We could not call the universal medium of mind God any more than we could call electricity God. The universal medium of mind is but one of the many attributes of God, the avenue through which God operates as law. We should differentiate between universal mind and universal spirit. As we examine the subjective, we find it to be both intelligent and conscious, without knowing that it is intelligent and without being self-conscious. All law must be subjective. The soil knows how to make a seed and make a plant from it. Oh, no. Let me try that again. The soil knows how to take a seed and make a plant from it. It does not know whether it is making a tomato or a potato. If this were not true of the laws of nature, we could not depend on them. We should be confronted with caprice. One of the most difficult problems is to realize that when we are dealing with the law of mind, we are dealing with an absolutely impersonal thing. It knows how to create without knowing what it creates. Therefore, we must distinguish between the law of mind and the spirit which uses the law. The ancients taught that there is an infinite self-knowing spirit. One of the oldest sayings in the world is, spirit is the power that knows itself. In addition to which there is an infinite law which knows how to do, but does not care what it does. This law is the karmic law of Buddha, the law that binds the ignorant and frees the wise, as Anna Besant stated it. It is the cause and effect of the West, but it is not to be confused with Kismet, which is fate, because its tendency can be changed. There is a law in the universe which operates in a certain way according to the tendency set in motion and does so mathematically, inexorably. We cannot destroy the law, but we can redirect its movement. Just as we plant seeds and later decide we wish something else, we go out and uproot the first seeds and plant others in their place. We are not thereby destroying the soil. We have simply determined to use it in a different way. When we are dealing with subjectivity, we are always dealing with that which is subject to conscious volition. Emphasis earnest. The conscious volition in the universe is what is meant by the spirit or God. The mental medium, the universal subjectivity, the law, is the doer of the word. Plotinus speaks of it as a doer, but not as a knower. He called it a blind force, not knowing, only doing. This is the principle in which we use in practice. We should distinguish between the conscious volition as spirit and the subjective law, which works with intelligence, but not self-conscious awareness. When this is realized, we shall no longer be superstitious about our use of the law. It has been difficult to get away from such a superstitious reaction because of a theological rather than a scientific approach to the subject. The law we are discussing is simply a law of nature, a force of nature. It happens to be a mental force and an intelligent and creative one like electricity, which will either light our house and cook our food or electrocute us if we use it incorrectly. The threefold nature of God. We find then that we study our own being. As we study our own being, we begin to deduce what the nature of God or the universal being is. There is no way we can know God except by studying people. Someone may say God reveals itself. Yes, we think God reveals itself to us, but only by revealing itself through us. We know about God only as we judge what God must be by studying the nature of those things which we can somewhat analyze, plus that intuitive feeling we have of eternal verities. If we study the true nature of people, then we shall have delved into the real nature of God, or first cause, from which people spring. As we have found that people are threefold in their nature, we must deduce that God is threefold in its nature, i.e., God is spirit, or self-knowingness. God is law and action. God is result or body. This is the inner teaching of the Trinity. God, as self-knowing spirit, means the divine being whom we have always thought of and believed in, the being to whom we have prayed and whom we have adored. God as law means the way in which spirit works. And the law, in this sense, would be the servant of the spirit. God as body means the manifestation of spirit. Last section, Trinity of being. This Trinity of being appears to run through all nature and all life. For instance, there is electricity, the way it works, and its results, which is light or motive power. There is the seed, the creative medium of the soil and the plant. Turn it as we may, we are confronted with the necessity of a trinity of being. Throughout the ages, this trinity has been taught. Every great religion and every great spiritual philosophy has taught this trinity. Father, Son, Holy Ghost was the Christian trinity. It is the thing, the way it works, and what it does. The thing is absolute intelligence. The way it works is absolute law, and what it does is the result, manifestation. The action of the thing itself is what the Bible calls the Word, absolute intelligence. And we are done with chapter 2. And it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm like, I've read all that, and I'm like, now I need to go away and think about it. But I'm finding it helpful. Unironically, I wear a trinity as well. It's actually, if you look at it, it's 3 arches. And it's an Irish trinity. It's called a triscale. Triscale. And most of the time what it stands for is maiden, mother, and crone, the 3 life stages of women. But it stands for 3. It's whatever 3. And so that's, our world is built on 3. You know, so if I was in Sesame Street, the word of the number of the day would be 3. And the letters would be S&M, science of mind. But yeah, Ernest, it's like Ernest is all of the, and then he slides in that little, hey, you know what? I believe in mental telepathy. There's a whole lot of silent communication that does go on. Science has borne out that about 90% of communication is nonverbal. You know, for all that we talk a lot, there's a whole lot of nonverbal communication that goes on. Whether it's mental telepathy or whether it's body language, you know, there's that. And there's also history, you know, if you have a friend that you've known for a very long time, you do get to the point where you can finish each other's sentences. So it's like, you know what? That's one of the things when they went back and put out the 1938 edition, or what they put out recently, they put out an edition that has both the 1938 and the because there was a whole bunch of stuff that got taken out. Ernest was a little bit of a spiritualist. So, but when they first put the textbook out, they were like, we can't put all that out. People will think you're weird. So they took all that out. So they put it back in. But that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the original edition. Because most of us have this one. and it doesn't, and then I don't have to worry about dealing with some of the more interesting ideas. And maybe I'll go back and do that later. So, but I hope you're along for the ride. I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm getting to know Ernest a little bit better by doing this. Yeah. All right. So housekeeping, and then I'm going to get off and go enjoy my Catterday, because the Blue Jays were back in the park today. And so I may have gotten one or two good shots. Taking pictures of birds they're fast little suckers. All right. So I'm just going to remind you, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. We do encourage you to go and like, share, subscribe, follow, do all that. It helps bump us in the algorithm. We think we have interesting things to say. We think we have helpful things to say. So it's just one of the ways that you can support us. There are two ways if you want to know what's going on with the center. You can email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. And those hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it will take you right to the information you want. Otherwise, our website is back up. So you can also go to creativelife.org. So, those are the ways that you can get to us if you need us, and see what's going on. All right. I don't know what I was about to say. So I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a restful day, a catter day, a take care of business day, a get some stuff done day, a rest day, a silly day, a cuddle with your fur babies day, a take care of yourself day, a silent day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godly. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow. Then, because today is Saturday and tomorrow is Sunday in 2024, then, just lost my train of thought. We will have an amazing service for you. I don't know what the title is because I don't remember, but I'll get that posted a little bit later today. However, it will also be Mother's Day. So I'm quite sure Reverend Jesse will mention something about mothers. So take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.